I'm here with my friend Andrea Reed, who does Ancestral Clearing, and she has talked to me a little bit about what she does, and I'm a little familiar with it just from doing this work for a long time. But she has just a really beautiful perspective, and this is something that she's very passionate about and has really uh, dived deep into. And she has a lot of knowledge, a lot of wisdom. And I think this is something that's really, really needed in our culture and in our society, that we recognize the effect that our ancestry has on us, the energy that's passed on through the generations has a huge effect on our present day life right now. And if we can really recognize those things, our life is just better for it. So if you have not heard of Ancestral Clearing before, I think there's probably different terms for this as well. Andrea, do you know off the top of your head anything that anyone else may have experienced before that this could possibly be compared to?
I'm not sure. This work is pretty specific. I learned the technique from John Newton with Health Beyond Belief, and there are definitely a lot of amazing modalities out there that are helping a lot of people. But ancestral clearing in this way is pretty specific.
Cool. Okay, I can't wait to hear all about it, and I'm sure everyone else is excited as well. We have a few people on. So I just want to read a little bit of a biography. So Andrea Reed was born and raised on Vancouver Island, Canada. After 7 years in England working in hotel management and running organic food stores, Andrea moved to Oklahoma to marry her husband. In 2010, she founded the Oklahoma Center for Wellness, a 501c3 nonprofit organization dedicated to educating the public about the necessity of utilizing sustainable resources in all areas of our lives. Through the nonprofit, she hosts annual events like the Holistic Birth and Baby event and the Holistic Women's Wellness event. Andrea has over two decades of experience in the natural health and wellness industry in 3 countries. She is a silver leader with Young Living Essential Oils and is committed to sharing ancestral clearing with everyone who wants to benefit from this work via workshops and private sessions. Andrea's purpose, along with raising and homeschooling her 2 boys and enjoying time with her husband, is to help empower people with natural and complementary options to support their physical, emotional, spiritual, and financial lives. Since 2017, Andrea has completed 4 of John Newton's practitioner trainings to learn ancestral clearing techniques and has been working with clients using these techniques ever since. So awesome. So to get started, go ahead and tell us a little bit more about ancestral clearing. What is it? For those of us who have never heard of it before, and maybe some that just want to learn a little bit more.
Yeah. Absolutely. So when I first found this work, it was completely by accident. And I had a 2-year-old and a 6-year-old at the time, and I was struggling to find balance in my life and work at home. And I thought I was good. I thought things were pretty good in my life, but I didn't realize that feeling stressed out and anxious a lot in the day wasn't, I shouldn't say it wasn't normal, but I didn't realize that there was another way. And so most of the people around me as well were stressed out and anxious. And so this new normal kind of appears where we're all just in survival mode, just trying to get through life, right? And especially with young children, but also even for those of us, for those of you who don't have kids. So one night, 10 o'clock at night, I'm going through my email, just delete, like we do all the junk mail. And maybe once a month I do something like that. And my finger just hovered over the delete button, and it was from someone I'd never met. Don't know how they got my email address. And it said, Ancestral Clearing live events in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And I was like, I don't even know why I opened it. I ended up going to the event, and this was a John Newton Health Beyond Belief event. And within 90 minutes of a live event here, down the road in Tulsa, I felt the experience of the work. And I'll have to tell you, I went in pretty skeptical. I've sat in a lot of workshops and in a lot of classrooms and grew up going to a lot of complementary healer types and things like that. And some of them were amazing and great, and others didn't work for me. So I was very skeptical. And from the moment I started learning about how the work works, I knew that this was for me. And I didn't only just want it for me, I wanted it for my family and my community too. I felt like I had been looking for this um, to add to my toolbox of modalities that we needed to handle things in house. So from there, I dove into the work, and like in the bio, it says I took 4 clearings in 3 states over 2 years, and just wanted to. They talk about peeling the layers back. I wanted to rip the layers off of that onion. I was tearing that onion apart because each time I did the work and moved through a new layer, and we'll get into what the work is here in a second, I just felt lighter, happier. A more of a heart-based connection, things that I didn't even know I'd been missing. I may not have ever felt in my life. So the work works in a way that we're not giving anything to people. What it is the idea that maybe we come in with a lot of burden that might not even be ours, that could be passed on from generation to generation, including skipping generations. And this work works to clear it so that who we truly are can show up. What our heart's desire is, what our soul's purpose is to be here on this planet can show up without the old patterns playing in the background. The old patterns that are there possibly could have been established as survival mechanisms, maybe early in life, maybe womb, maybe passed down from generation to generation, maybe other soul experiences, depending on what the person's belief system includes. This work can work for anybody that wants the help, including people who have no belief system. So you don't have to subscribe to a certain belief in order to get the help. But also science is proving that this is accurate and is actually measuring the effects of it through the study of epigenetics. I have a little article that I often quote about. It's called Mice Inherit Specific Memories Because of Epigenetics. And basically the researchers in this example, and I don't agree with animal testing, but just stating the example from this research paper, they made the mice afraid of a specific odor, acetophenone, I think it's called. And the mice were afraid of this fruity odor because every time they had the odor come in, they paired it with a mild shock to the foot. And they picked smell because our sense of smell is stored in the limbic region of the brain, which is also where we store memories. So they were very clever in what stimuli they gave the animal to remember. So the mice were trained to fear one particular smell and then showed an increased startle to the odor, but not to others. So they gave them other synthetic smells that were kind of similar, and they didn't have that same startle response to it. So they didn't even need to give the shock to the foot anymore. They could just give them the smell and the animal would jump. So we've seen that in humans. If you've ever seen somebody who has maybe PTSD or something, and 4th of July firecrackers go off, or somebody drops a book suddenly, or there's a loud noise at a stop sign, we could have a startle effect. Maybe there isn't something specifically that can harm us around us in that moment, but our cells remember. So in this example, 10 days after this fear training, it's awful, the mice were allowed to mate, and the offspring showed an increase. Their offspring, their babies, which is generation 1, I think they called it F1, showed an increased startle to the fruity smell, even when they never encountered the smell before. So the first time these babies smell this specific chemical, they had the startle reflex. The thing that blew the scientist's mind at the time was that F2, generation 2, the babies of the babies also had this reflex.
That's incredible.
So it's exciting to watch science measure and prove how this can go through generation to generation, including skipping generations. So how does this translate to us from mice? Have you ever experienced a situation where you are having a conversation with somebody? Maybe it's an important conversation with an employer or an employee or a partner or a family member, And you go in and you're like, okay, I'm going to go have this conversation and I'm going to be the highest version of myself and we're going to have this outcome and we're going to be all ready for it. And then halfway through, it's almost like someone else takes over and you have this knee-jerk reaction. And I don't know if you've had that experience, but I'm like, I hear myself speaking. I'm like, no, stop. What are you doing? This
Yeah.
isn't me. This is an old record playing.
Yeah.
Why do we have that knee-jerk reaction to things? So
Yeah.
there's many reasons why we could have that, just as that one example. Another one might be, gosh, I mean, this covers every category. When I work with someone, I always like to let them know, you don't have to know why.
Mm-hmm.
This work can work even if we don't know the why. This work can work on things that are holding us back, that could be holding us back, that we're not even consciously aware of. And I feel like that's really powerful too, because I don't know, I do know you've done a lot of work yourself, a lot of internal work and seeking and healing and things like that. And if you're like me, when I recognize a pattern, it's only a matter of time before that pattern is resolved. If I can see it, I've got my headlights on it. I'm like,
Exactly.
okay, we're going to heal this. We're going to, move through this.
Yeah.
It's the ones that I wanted to get to were the ones that I didn't know about. That record that's playing so softly in the background that I don't even hear it anymore, that I don't even know. It tricks me into thinking that's who I really am. And it's not. These old patterns that maybe as a child it was safe to play small. Maybe we had a realization overhearing a parent's conversation that money wasn't safe. Maybe we had parents that were in survival mode. Maybe they had parents who were in a war or two. Maybe there were a few wars on this planet where people were in fight or flight or survival. On and on and on and on and on. So as that snowball rolls downhill, and as if people haven't maybe had the tools to turn and resolve them, it seems to get bigger and it seems to get passed on and on and on until someone in the lineage turns and says, okay, I'm going to face this.
I think it is really incredible how much we are affected by so many different things. And really the work for me has been just, like you said, it's like the first step is becoming aware. It's just, and we're in this time right now where we're sitting at home. We have lots of time on our hands. We're not doing our normal routines. And for me, hearing about this and then this all happening and us talking about doing an interview on this, I was really excited because I feel like this is the type of work that you can do in situations like this when you're at home. Because for me, when I first started going through my deep healing of the shadow in my life, I kind of just hibernated for about 3 years, and that's what it took. It took and I had so much built up pain in me that I had never allowed myself to cry. I had never allowed myself really to feel. And when I was sitting with a counselor at one point, she was asking me, "So what do you feel right now?" And the only feeling really that I could ever detect within myself was feeling annoyed. I did not have any kind of receptor for, oh, this means that I'm feeling sad or anger or jealousy or any of those things. Like I just felt annoyed. And that was my protector. And so being in that state of being, not everybody is that far away from their feelings, but it took me a long time to really look inward and start to do this work. And so I think it really does kind of take a time of being in a cocoon and in a sacred space where you can allow yourself to face these things and face these fears, because it's not easy and it's not fun always. But when you know that there's this loving presence around you really guiding the whole thing, that for me also becomes so much easier. And that's what I love about your work. And she did a clearing with me, and I didn't really have to do anything other than just be present and being aware and being right there with her in what was going on within me.
Mm-hmm.
So I just encourage everybody. Oh, great. We've got about 13 people on here. If you guys have any questions, feel free to write them in the comments, and Andrea can answer any of the questions that you might have. And she's also going to do a group clearing here in a bit. I also wanted to talk just a little bit more about the science. I loved that example that you gave. That is incredible. I think I had actually heard that one before. I don't know if you told me it or if I had read it at another time, but just doing in my own work that I do as well, where I work with frequency and vibration a lot. Uh, that that is just so powerful to know that there are things being passed on to us more than our physical traits, more than the things that we can see. It's this energy blueprint, I believe, that runs through everything, and it never dies. It's not like, your mother and father had it and then you're born and then it stopped with them. Everything that they are, and that can be a little depressing to some people maybe, or exciting for others, I don't know, but it's what is supposed to be. I believe we are born at this time into this situation that we're born into for a reason, for a purpose. And so everything that was passed on to you, in my opinion, spiritually, it's something that we are supposed to be working out. It is our path. It's the things that maybe we've been working on for a long time and haven't known it, maybe in past lives or whatever your belief system is. But that's exciting to me to know that there's actually tools that we can use and things that we can do in order to see and uproot this. So do you have anything else to add to that, or do you want to do the clear,
Yeah.
or what do you want to do?
Well, you made so many good points there. I've seen people shift who didn't even believe that they would. I've worked with people that did not believe they would get the help, were completely skeptical, but had tried everything and nothing had worked for them. And sometimes that's the layer we start with. And we did the work. They were willing, because free will is the number one rule with this work, that the only, yeah, you have to want to get the help. You have to agree to want the help. Otherwise it won't help you, because we all have free will. So I've done group events before where I ask people for feedback, especially like the smaller events. When I started out, if we had 3 or 5 people in a room, and I would be checking in with people, how are you noticing the sensation, big or small or different, things like that. And there was one individual who was not getting help. And I finally checked in with this individual and said, hey, do you want help with this? And they said no. And I was like, wow, it was a huge lesson for me, because when we offer a group clearing, there may be some of you who are watching because you're curious and you want to know, but you're not ready to dive into that. You can set that intention within yourself, and you can also change your mind and watch the replay if you decide you do want the help. So it's very permission based. I feel like that's the most important thing. And the second thing was what you mentioned about how you feel in the body. That's what I'm learning through this work, is that is so paramount to getting the help. So most of us spend most of our time in our heads. And if our brain and our conscious mind is only whatever percentage they're saying now, 7%, 10% of who we really are, then we're accessing 7 to 10% of who we really are to try and get help. So for those of you who want to know, how does this work and what do you specifically do? There are very specific steps that we follow. And basically what I do is I'm an advocate on behalf of the client, or on behalf of myself, if I'm doing the work on myself or my children or my family or groups. And we humbly and gratefully connect with the source of all that is, ever was, and ever will be. So if that word is God for you, if that's source of nature, if whatever word you use for that, there's 7 billion people on this planet. Not everyone has the same belief system. So this work honors all belief systems. Some people call it prayer. Some people call it clearings. Some people call it forgiveness work or offerings. Mm-hmm. But based on feedback from the client, it can work on physical or emotional issues, the possible spiritual root of those things, without making claims to actually work on physical or emotional issues, because this work is not a substitute for medical treatment or psychological treatment. But people have gotten help. because maybe the physical pain that appears in the body is a result of
Yeah.
ignoring things that didn't feel good in the past and stuffing it down, stuffing it down, stuffing it down. And like you said, you had a little bit of a buildup, and that buildup may not have started with you. It might have been generations back of women just having to survive, provide, get by, and not, our ancestors, it's not their fault. They didn't always have time to sit and, how do I feel today? It's like, no, I have to raise children, kind of like now in a way, raise children and go out and get food and make food. And you had their tribes and whatever. But we seem to be, like you said, at a point in our humanity where many are looking for a way to a better way.
Yes.
People are
And
looking for a better way.
I think knowing the why is really important. We don't just not just doing it for, shits and giggles to do some sort of spiritual thing. It is actually releasing energy in our bodies. And when we release energy that's all pent up or stagnant or stuck with negative emotions and things that how that happens through the generations or even just through this life that we've had, when that's there, it's difficult for our bodies to heal themselves. It's difficult for the energy to be released so that our bodies can do what they do best, which is naturally heal. And that's why I think our body is so amazing. It's just a really big indicator of what's going on in our emotions, and paying attention to the areas of our body that feel a certain way and that are hurting or that develop symptoms. I love Louise Hay's book that she outlines. Do you remember the name of it? I can't think of it off the top of my head, but
she has so many. One that I reference is Heal Your Body,
yes.
And there's you Can Heal Your Life. Yes, she was definitely a pioneer in this area too.
Yeah.
The physical association with emotional pain.
Yes, and she will go through all the different body parts and reveal this body part. A lot of us are probably familiar with the lungs being grief, which is interesting during this time too, with how much our lungs are being affected or potentially affected by this virus. And maybe we're grieving as a nation, possibly, is how I look at it. We're needing to go through this almost a worldly ancestral clearing from all the different things that have gone on in the past, and as we become more aware, to recognize that we need to that these things don't really just go away on their own unless we recognize them, unless we say yes, because it is all permission based. I believe energetically it's very permission based. So as we say yes, I want more freedom, and what is the what are we reaching for? What is the thing that we feel like is even possible? And some of us may need to let go of some skeptical or some pessimistic ideas just in order to become more free, so that we can grow and learn and change. And as we do that, as we let those things go, we're able to just start to feel this freedom more and more. So
awesome.
Yeah, let me see. So I wanted to show, let's see if I have another question here for you before we go on. I thought it was really fascinating. Andrea, she posted this on her Facebook page, but it was this live blood cell analysis that she got done, which has been around for a long time. It's really fascinating. If you've never had one done, I really suggest that you find someone that does it, because you can find out a lot about your body through it. But it pretty much is a really high-powered microscope that looks at your blood as it's living, as it's moving, and what it's doing. And a practitioner can really tell a lot about what's going on inside your body. Well, Andrea had an experience kind of mixing in the ancestral clearing with the live blood cell analysis. And it kind of happened by chance, didn't it? Or were you purposely doing that?
No, it happened by accident.
Sorry, I have a couple of pictures I want to show you too of the difference of the cells. Yeah. It's really amazing.
Yeah, so I went to my chiropractor's office, and she has the live blood cell analysis microscope there, and we got to play with different slides. And what we wanted to do was test the effects of trying a certain product. So she took a sample of my blood just from my finger, and we looked at it under the microscope, and it showed, pretty standard inflammation. Red blood cells were very sticky and stuck together. And so then I would use a product, wait for 10 minutes, and then we were going to do another slide, another sample of my blood, and see what the difference was and how long would it take for them to be free flowing. So what happened was, that's the first slide, and you can see they're all pretty stuck together there. And what happened was, I used the product, we waited 10 minutes, we took another slide, and it was showing improvement. And so we're like, okay, let's take another dose of this product. And during that 10 minutes, my doctor was looking at the slide and saying, oh, I'm noticing that one or two of your cells look anemic. And I said, oh yeah. She said, do you have an iron deficiency issue? And I said, well, and instantly in that moment, while I'm literally looking at my cells, which we know store memory, cellular memory is a thing, I'm brought back to this birth experience I had that, left, you could call it birth trauma or an unresolved emotional experience. And I shared this story with her about what had happened and blood loss and things like that, and how that had led to possibly a period of being anemic, and maybe I never got over it. And I could feel, as I was sharing the story, like, if you share a story that you're still attached to, it wasn't neutral. It wasn't like I had resolved it and I was sharing something factually. It was, I could feel this momentum building in the body. And that's a clue for me, but I wasn't conscious of what was happening. And this was a beautiful accident. So timer goes off. She takes a sample of my blood and puts it under the microscope. And she's like, what did you do? I was like, what do you mean? I'm feeling kind of nervous. The quality of the blood cells was, I say, worse than the first slide, than when I walked in the door. And, my doctor was like, did you go eat cookies in the meantime? What did you do? And I said, no, I've been sitting in here the whole time. I didn't do anything. And that's where we had the aha moment. I was speaking about a traumatic experience that was unresolved. That's the key, is whether it's resolved or not. And on a cellular level, that impacted my blood pretty instantaneously. And the conclusion we came to was that it didn't matter. I don't want to say it doesn't matter. It's important to have high quality supplements. It's important to have high quality water. It's important to have high quality air, exercise, all these things. But the pattern that was unresolved on a cellular level overwrote all of those. So then she said, okay, now what you're going to do is you're going to sit for 10 minutes and do your ancestral clearing work and your forgiveness work around that birth experience. Everyone involved, just sit here and do that. And she went off and saw some patients and came back. And I did. So I asked the creator humbly and gratefully for everyone involved in that specific experience. And then I started itemizing people in my mind. And then I started saying, and all, so everyone that was included that I didn't even know had a part in that. I asked for them to forgive me. I asked if I could have help forgiving them, and that we could all forgive ourselves, please and thank you. And I just did that over and over and over again for about 10 minutes. And then more information flooded in, and more memories and images came to me. I didn't look for them. And then at the end of those 10 minutes, we did another blood sample, and it was free and clear again. Better than, the second slide that was free and clear. Yeah.
So the first picture that I was showing was this one on the bottom right, or I don't know how you guys are seeing it on there, but that's the clumpy blood, right? Yeah. And that was what you saw beforehand, and then it got a little worse.
It got a little worse when I spoke about the unresolved experience. Yeah. And then the other image that you're showing is free and clear after the clearing. There's another piece to this that I had actually forgotten until just now. I don't know if I shared that with you. I might have shared that with you before when we talked, but a lot of us have parasites. Like over 90% of people have parasites. So hopefully this isn't TMI, but it showed some in the blood.
Mm-hmm.
on the slide, which I was fascinated by. And after the clearing, we saw a ton of them, just a ton of them. And my doctor was like, I have never seen this many parasites, like just little black spots, right? This is not little monsters or anything. This is little tiny black spots in the blood cell analysis. And I started kind of freaking out. I was like, why are they all showing up? Like, what is, 4 slides in, all of a sudden there's a whole bunch there after I do 10 minutes of ancestral clearing and forgiveness work. What we discovered is they were all dead. And there was a bunch of white blood cells that had rushed in on that last slide and were coming in. The white blood cells come in to clean up, right? So what we hypothesize, but have yet to go back and see if we can repeat, is each cell had parasites attached to them, and the clearing of the unresolved experience on some level maybe strengthened the cells. The body could fight off the invaders, and then all of a sudden we saw this, all these invaders that were no longer attached in the image. It was wild. I really didn't expect any of that to happen. So
Man, it's just so exciting for me to have things like this, because it's something that in your gut for so long, but then to be able to have the visuals that go along with it, with what is actually happening within our bodies as we release old patterns and old ways and things that are not serving us, things that don't feel good to us. They truly are affecting us on a physical level. And I think we're entering into an age now where we are not going to be so distant from that truth. And we're going to really be able to walk in that on a daily basis. And I believe more people are waking up to this. It's really, really exciting for me, because I also believe that the more of us that wake up to this, the more, since we are all connected, and this shows how energy is affecting everything, it just makes our entire planet healthier. Yeah. Everything that we see going on in our planet is a reflection of the collective shadow of what, if you think of the whole earth as a body, and you think of yourself and all the stuff that you're dealing with and stuff, the earth body is also going through those types of challenges and issues. And so we're going to be clearing it all out, and it starts with us. The more that we do this work and allow it to come out, it just helps the entire planet. So look at this. I'm telling everyone here, I just love this. What do you guys think of this? I don't know if I'm seeing any comments here, so I hope maybe Ben, if Ben is watching, he can tell us if there's anyone. Maybe I need to click on this. Hold on a second. I just don't want to miss any. Oh, there's Lucy. Okay. She's given us some hearts. All right.
So one cool thing there's many cool things about it. In this particular life experience that we're experiencing right now, and then, aligning with the blood cell example, on a personal level, I've been working around having better boundaries, healthy boundaries with people, with my energy, saying no when my heart feels right to say no, and feeling okay with that, those kind of things. I've always considered those to be not mental issues, but like emotional components to my growth. Yeah. But when I consider the impact of having healthy boundaries on a cellular level, and how that can also translate to possibly a stronger, healthier immune system, and how when we have healthy boundaries, we may not be susceptible to things coming into our energy space or our physical bodies like we would if we didn't have healthy boundaries. And the example that I have heard before is, if you leave all your doors and windows open, you're going to have mice and ants and whatever getting in. And that's kind of speaking to being in our heads more. So as we get more rooted in the body and connected to the body, the sensations in the body that are there for us, that's where we can do some healing, and that's where we can move forward in a way that maybe was never possible to us before. So
Yeah, it's exciting. So do you want to lead us in a group clearing now?
Yeah,
I see
sure.
on there too. She's saying very cool topics, and she loves the blood work because she's a mad scientist herself.
Awesome. Love it.
Yeah, she's great. She's a great.
Sure. So let's work in this way. Since we have a variety of people watching, and then we'll probably have people watching the replay. Whether you're watching live or watching on the replay, you can benefit from this work, which is pretty cool. So if you would like to participate, and if it feels right and appropriate for you to sit comfortably and close your eyes, you can go ahead and do that. And just get a sense of something that you would like assistance with, something you would like to resolve, something that is, you can do the flip side of that, something that is not showing up that you would like to show up, or something that is showing up for you now that doesn't feel good. And we're going to go a little counterintuitively because we are wired to move towards things that feel good and away from things that don't. So while that may have been originally appropriate for us, things that don't feel good right now might be here to serve us. So when you said it earlier, it's not always easy. It doesn't always feel good to do this work. You're exactly right. So kind of like the birth process, it's a really awesome thing to be on the other side of once you go through it.
Yeah.
So if you want to play, get a sense of something that you would like help with. If it's a physical thing, you can get a sense of something that doesn't feel good in the body. If it's a life situation or a conflict with a person or whatever, get a sense of that situation and notice when you consider that, what doesn't feel good in the body. And so we've got lots of different people on, and you can just consider that silently. And for your own benefit, you can just get a sense of a 0 to 10 level of discomfort in the body. Usually we're looking for something 4 or 5 or higher than that. That tells me that you're related to what's going on. So you may notice different things in the body, and we want to label things different than pain, because pain, again, is something we're wired to move away from. So you could get a sense of how does it feel in the body: heat, pressure, tension, pulling, twisting, searing. Looking for kind of neutral words to describe what doesn't feel good in the body as an observer. So get a sense of your 1 to 10 level of discomfort. And then I'll offer some clearings out loud and some silently around whatever your particular situation is. And then we'll check back in on the other side of it. So if you don't have something and you want to participate and you're only at a 2, 3, or 4, you're like, it's not that big a deal. You could ask yourself, if you feel appropriate to do so, is it okay if this goes on for another 10 years? And see if that brings your number up. So as you do nothing and just notice sensation in the body, breathing normally, I'll offer this. God, creator, infinite source of nature. You can insert your word for that. All that you truly are. We humbly and gratefully ask if you will please help all of us, everyone watching this video, replay included, all of our family members, all of our relationships, all of our family members, all of their relationships, all of their ancestors, and all of their relationships throughout all relevant time, space, dimension, throughout all time, past, present, and future, for all hurts and wrongs around this specific issue. Everything that led up to it, everything that resulted from it, all similar frequencies, all similar situations to this at the root, and anything we made it mean, any story we told ourselves as a result of this. Will you please help all of us, for everything that happened and everything we made it mean, to forgive and release each other? Will you please help all of us to forgive ourselves for the highest good. Please and thank you, please and thank you, please and thank you. Please help us all to see ourselves, each other, and all of creation through your eyes, God, Source, Infinite Creator, all that you truly are. Please and thank you, please and thank you, please and thank you. So then that was a very general round. You can check back into the body, get a sense of that original situation. And you just want to notice if the sensations in the body are bigger, smaller, or different than before. And then you can get a sense of what the 0 to 10 level of discomfort is in the body now in this present moment. And if you want to write in any feedback on what you experienced on that, you're welcome to do so. And then you just notice how that feels. So you want to check in with your 0 to 10 level of discomfort, if it's bigger, smaller, or different. And if you wanted to write into Sharla and say, I went from a this to a this, if it's like a 7 to a 2, or you could write in what you noticed on that experience, you're welcome to do that as well. And that's one round, about 30 to 60 seconds. A lot can happen in 30 to 60 seconds of this work. Also, sometimes that can unblock a flow that can continue to unravel going forward.
Yeah.
People in the past that I've worked with, an example could be, this area feels so much better, but now I've got this going on over here. Okay. That could be a new layer. And I love the example I was given by Howard Wills, and he's got an amazing website too, howardwills.com. I heard one of his talks speaking about how if you've got generations worth of dirt on the floor, one passing of the broom might not get it all. Sometimes we need to do a few different rounds. So if you're getting any feedback, I'd love to know it. If not, we can do a second round around this just to do another sweep through.
Yeah, I just love how simple it is. That you're, oh, look at that. All these fun little tech things. This is her website. I'll put on there for a minute. I love how simple that it is, because anyone can do this. I mean, it basically is allowing forgiveness to go back for generations and being present with that and aware of that. And so when things come up in our lives, when we're feeling uncomfortable, when we have some sort of physical ailment or emotional feeling that we just can't seem to shake off, those are good times to make space for this and sit and allow yourself to feel. And I love the verbiage that's used. I would love to get a copy of all the verbiage that you use. But even if you don't have the verbiage, just the feeling, I believe, is so beneficial to your cells. As the intention goes out there, it will cover so much.
So on the website, if you go to a page on my website, clearingburdens.com, go to resources, the ancestral clearing techniques that I'm using today were developed by John Newton with Health Beyond Belief, and their company is healthbeyondbelief.com is their website. And they've allowed me to put the comprehensive ancestral clearing prayer link on there. You can click on that and access that for free. He also offers free monthly live calls, so you can access the replays and the website. And also he trains people on how to do this work, of course, because that's how I learned to do it. So it is exciting that anybody that wants to learn how to do this work can do it, because it can't just be one person or two people or 5 or 10 doing this work. It's awesome that people can learn how to do it just for themselves, because that's where it starts, or just for their family, or just for their children, or just for their marriages.
Yeah, exactly. It's powerful. It's wonderful. I love it. So just to do a little, do you want to do another one? Let's see if we got any. How did everybody feel with that? If there's still some people here that joined us in the clearing session, did you all have any different feelings? Just let us know. I know there's a little bit of kind of a big delay here. It looks like I'm not sure how long it is, but
Okay.
there's a little gap there. So we'll just see if anybody has any feedback here. But people can find you at clearingburdens.com, and you do personal sessions as well as group sessions. And so you just it seems that you follow the trail. Oh, here's Jessica. She's saying that she got pressure in her chest down from a 7 to a 2. Awesome. Yeah, that's so good. It really is just kind of finding all those little pockets of stress and pockets of energy that we hold in our bodies. It's telling us something. Each of those areas is saying, look at me. I am giving you a sensation. I'm giving you this pain. I'm giving you this feeling so that you will look at me and you will know I'm doing it for a reason. None of that happens for no reason. It all has a purpose. And that's why this work is so important. And that's why this time is a beautiful time to be doing this kind of work, because you can have the time to do it and to slow down and to pay attention. We often go through our lives just on automatic without taking the time to really tune in and see what's going on with us. So we've got plenty of time to tune in here. Do you want to lead another, or do you feel like that was sufficient?
We can do another round for anyone that feels like they still have a 2 or 3 or higher. A lot of times, like I mentioned before, if you didn't go all the way down to a 0 in the 30 or 60 seconds that we worked before, that's okay. Be where you are. If there's still something left, we can work another round on that right now. If you feel resolution on what you originally brought to it, for example, if it's a conflict with a person, when you consider that person, you're like, doesn't really matter anymore. It's like kind of neutral. I mean, it might not feel great. They might still be a jerk, but you might just not have that response to it anymore. If that's resolved, then pick something else if you want to. Yeah. And just get a sense of where you feel it in your body when you consider whatever it is that you want to work on. If it's the original issue and you have a little bit left or another layer around that, get a sense of that. If it's something new, get a sense of that. Mm-hmm. And so we're going to work in a little bit of a different way because of how you mentioned this, Sharla. So everyone who wants to participate in this way, please feel free to do so. And I'm going to have you do a repeat after me. And we're going to make the best use of this collective that we have here right now. And even if you're on the replay, this also applies to you if you choose to participate. So I'm going to have you repeat after me, and you can repeat it out loud or silently if you want to, whatever's appropriate for your surroundings. So we're going to use the word that we use for our higher power, if that's God, Creator, Source, Lord, whatever word you use for that. I'm going to have you say that word. So God, all that you truly are.
All that you truly are.
We love you.
We love you.
Thank you for loving us.
Thank you for loving us.
Will you please help us all?
Will you please help us all?
Everyone watching this video.
Everyone watching this video.
Replay included.
Replay included.
For all hurts and wrongs around this specific issue.
For all hurts and wrongs around this specific issue.
for everyone involved.
For everyone involved.
Please help us all
Please help us all
to forgive and release each other.
to forgive and release each other.
Please help us all forgive ourselves.
Please help us all to forgive ourselves.
I don't want to carry this anymore.
I don't want to carry this anymore.
It doesn't make it okay what happened.
It doesn't make it okay what happened.
But will you please help me resolve this?
Please help me resolve this.
Please help us all
Please help us all
forgive and release each other.
forgive and release each other.
Please help us all forgive ourselves
Please help us all forgive ourselves
for the highest good,
for the highest good,
always.
always.
Please and thank you.
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 I just want to say too, just add to that, just I don't know. I guess I don't feel like I want to add to it. When I said that, I was like, no, we're good. Yeah, but I do want to say this replay will be up, so you all can also use this video to come back again and again if you feel like you want to work through a certain issue that's coming up for you. Even just taking 5 minutes a day to sit, reflect, and feel, and let your body tell you what it is that you need to work on, and let that guide you. It's kind of just following the breadcrumbs and paying attention to the pictures that we see in our mind, or the feelings. Oftentimes when I'm doing this type of work on myself, and I include tapping as well, a lot in this type of work, but that sometimes will bring stuff up for me that I couldn't see. And but it's good to know that you don't even necessarily have to know what it is.
Yeah.
So if you just feel like you just need a release and you don't even know where it's coming from and it's not being revealed to you, just trust, just let go. You don't even need to stress out about what it is or where it's coming from. For me, when I just let go and be like, okay, God knows, love knows what I need. I don't have to know, but I am going to surrender, and I am going to say yes. And I am going to say yes to this being resolved and this being cleared and healed in me. And that's all it takes. And then the steps come. And, walking through this type of prayer and being led by someone who also knows how to help others work through this is very beneficial. So if you all want to book a session with Andrea, where would they would go to your website? Let me turn that back on.
Yes. So back to what you were saying about even just checking in for 5 minutes. If they go to my website on the resources page I mentioned before, I have a link to our free Facebook group, and you can just request to be added to it. And starting Monday, so starting tomorrow, I will be doing daily 5-minute or less clearings. There's some on there already.
What's the name
but
of
I haven't been on there for a while. So we'll be doing like just free daily 5-minute clearings for specific issues around times of uncertainty, around abundance, around challenging emotions, different things. So they can get on there and watch that as many times as they feel called to, and work on each new layer as they go. If someone was interested in booking a private phone session, because currently I'm not doing group events in person, they can take advantage of the discounted offer. So normally my rates are $75 for 45-minute session on the phone, and I've reduced that for the months of March and April to $55 for the same length of time, 45-minute, just to help everyone who wants to be able to have access to this work get access to it.
Yeah.
And then we've also offered if you, when you book 2 sessions in advance, when you prepaid 2 sessions at 55, you'll get a third one for free that just needs to be redeemed before the end of May. So we just want everyone who wants to do this work to have the opportunity, especially in current situation, current times. So
Definitely. What's the name of your Facebook page?
so they can go to the website
Okay.
and go to the clearingburdens.com and go to resources, and then there's a little Facebook button. They can get to the group in that way.
Okay, cool. Claudia is saying anxiety runs in my family. A family member is experiencing extreme anxiety right now. What can help?
Okay, so anxiety is definitely a label that is required to be treated by a medical professional, and this work is complementary to all modalities and medical professions, but it's not a substitute. So definitely, if someone's experiencing anxiety, that's not something I can make claims to work on in particular. That being said, if this person was having sensations in the body that didn't feel good, the ancestral clearing work could help to possibly resolve the spiritual root of some of those issues. So a diagnosable label of anxiety is one thing. Somebody who feels maybe when they check in this moment, pressure or tension in the chest area, maybe a rising column through the throat that's tight, these kind of things. We could work on various issues around those sensations in the body and possibly provide some stress relief in that area. So
Great. Okay. So they can go to clearingburdens.com. So
yes.
I'm in closing. Wow, it's already been an hour. Isn't that amazing?
How did that happen?
I know. I just want to show these 2 pictures again because I think it's really impactful to actually have the visual. These are pictures of what happened, really an accidental clearing that happened. Well, the clearing wasn't accidental, but the seeing it in her blood that wasn't planned. So the one that has all the clumpy blood, that was her blood before the clearing, and actually while she was feeling the feelings and the unresolved issues, it actually got worse, and then afterwards it all cleared up. So this is actually on a cellular level changing our makeup, our biology even. I mean, as we clear this stuff out, and there is a huge connection between our health and doing the emotional work, the energetic work. That's really what it is. It's both.
And what I can do is, you were asking about, I have some video that we took during that session that was very candid, spur of the moment video. I can share that in my Facebook group on the Clearing Burdens Ancestral Clearing Facebook group. So I can just share that post over there if anyone wants to dive into a little bit more details and see, where they can go and get that work too. So
Okay, awesome. Well, I guess I'm going to close it up then. By anybody else have any more questions?
thank you so much for having me here in this space. I really appreciate it. And for everyone watching, thank you for taking an interest in this work. So
yeah, thank you for being here, and hopefully we can do it again. Everyone go to her website. You can find her Facebook page. Is it on the front page where they can go? Oh, no, resources.
Resources, yep. Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Front page, go to resources, and then you'll find her page there. And that's where you're going to be doing kind of some ongoing work for groups and things on there.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Thank you all so much for being here. I really appreciate you. I will be seeing you again, I'm sure, very soon. So have a lovely rest of your day. Bye-bye.